Well, good afternoon. This is Justin Hampton, the founder of the CompTool, and I think this should be starting up right now. At least I hope it is. There we go. Here, I'm watching it open up on the LinkedIn Live to make sure it actually goes. um, but so today's a little bit of a different topic. We've got a couple of roles open, and we're looking to bring some really fantastic people onto this rocket ship of the compensation tool. And as we all know, it's really hard to hire folks right now, and we're not immune to that. So we are out there looking to find some really great people. But we thought that one of the best ways we could potentially attract people and kind of give people a reason why they would want to work for CompTool is to actually just do a reverse interview. And the idea for a reverse interview is not to interview, I don't want to interview you, but I want folks to interview me. So through this little broadcast, what we'll do is I'll kind of talk a little bit about, CompTool, who we are, why we are, what we are, and some of the benefits to being part of this growth that we're seeing. And then I'll open it up and just say, if you've got questions, there's very few things that are off the table, and I'll answer what I can. But I think the first thing to know about CompTool and really what differentiates us from working with other companies out there that are like us, I would say it's that we are a really small startup, and I'll wear a couple of different hats. So there's really no such thing in our job titles or our job descriptions that isn't fair game. Now, for some folks, that's not what they want. But for a lot of folks, we have found that being able to do a lot of different things is something that provides a lot of mental challenges and a lot of mental stimulation. And the really fun part is too is that we all get to see what we're doing and how that impacts the company as a whole. Because this is truly a ground floor opportunity. We haven't even gone through a seed round. So, I posted something the other day around, what it's like to watch the company grow. So we started this as I was a compensation analyst. I had a Microsoft Access database because the company I worked at, we couldn't afford a fancy tool. So we were working with, I was using that, and it worked really well. So we took a stab at developing it into what's now the CompTool. And had I known what we were getting into, I don't know if I ever would have gotten into it, but I'm so happy that I was a bit naive in terms of how challenging startups can be and how long it can take and how much time and dedication it takes, because it really does. But what's been really fascinating is watching the company grow. And we got an email from someone yesterday after we demoed it with them. And let me see if I can't actually bring that up and see what it said. Because it was truly one of the things that where it really prompted and inspired, kind of a more, I don't know if I would say emotional, but one that was really kind of coming from how I felt about watching what we were doing grow. So let me find that. I just had it. Here it is. So we had this call yesterday. It says, "Hello, Zach and Justin. Thank you so much for sending this proposal. I will meet tomorrow to review and discuss further. I appreciate both of you showing us the compensation tool today. I was drooling in my office, and I was amazed at how easy and quick to pull the data you're looking for is, and the amount of data that's available in there. I love the layout of your tools. They're so logical and easy to navigate." So that we spent $50 a month in advertising, and we really got here because of the merits of our software and kind of what we built. And for me, that's one of the most important things one of the most important parts of the story is to tell, is that what we're doing, it's not because we want to build this company up and sell it off. It's not because we want to create the most profitable machine out there. It's because we truly want to build something that compensation practitioners are able to use and enjoy using, and it's meeting their needs. We launched Squirrel back in November, and Squirrel is really one of the first kinds of real-time data solutions out there. It's what we're doing is we're pulling market data from job postings. So we've got this tool that we built that really kind of matches what other companies have been around for 20 something years. And now we've got this other tool that's really truly disrupting how compensation works. We're not doing anything that comp folks hadn't already done before. But what we did is we took it from the compensation practitioner's viewpoint and created Squirrel. And what that's done for us is that's allowed us to grow a lot more quickly than we kind of expected. And that's where these roles have come from. So getting into kind of beyond the the general kind of background of the company and where we are, really what I want to talk about is kind of our culture. So we are in true startup mode. It's a work hard, play hard attitude. But I don't think that really a lot of folks, our employees, ever feel like they're too stressed out. What I really hope that we're pushing is that everybody has a very tremendous share of ownership and accountability for the CompTool. Now, I know that we see folk, or we're connected on Slack. We're meeting on every day for our stand-ups, and we're really all starting to see this tremendous success individually and then as a company. And what I have found just to be the most exciting part about growing the teams is that we have a very nice, friendly, competitively supportive spirit, if that makes any sense. So everybody is rooting for everybody, and everybody is supporting everybody through whatever means they have available to them. What I'm so proud of is the guys on our sales team. There's no such thing as I want to be the best. It's I want us to be the best at what we do. So we consistently see people sharing demos. We see consistently people bringing folks on to their demos. We consistently see people saying, hey, I couldn't get a hold of that person, but it sounds like you did. So I'd love for you to kind of continue that conversation. One of the things that really has inspired me about working with Mark and Morgan and Zach is just watching the collaborative spirit and watching kind of everyone get into their element. And then also how much everyone is learning about not just compensation, because that's one of the really core things about what we do is we're experts in the field, and we want to make sure that all of the folks that we work with are experts too. So seeing everybody learn and grow about the compensation programs and how other companies are applying those has been one of the really more fascinating things. And it's a lot of fun too, because if you think about the roles as a regular compensation analyst, you are working within the organization you're at, and you may have kind of different problems that you're solving on an annual basis. There's the cyclical part of compensation. But what we have found is that there's another side of that too, and that's the consulting side. Well, we're not full-scale consultants. We don't do consulting engagements. Those have their own challenges. But we're in that sweet spot in the middle where we can really hop into the data and see how companies are managing their data and support them without being fully engaged in really large long-term projects. And that, I think, is one of the really fun things about what our company does. And one of the roles that we have open right now is actually a customer experience manager. And what we actually like to call it, on top of that, or in addition to that, is the CompTool coach. So what we're looking for today is someone that has several years of experience in compensation, but also much preferably, with HCMs or HRIS systems. So someone with a comp HRS background would be an ideal match for the role that we have open today. Anywhere between 3 to 5 years of experience is probably going to be right in that sweet spot, though. If you have more experience, we'd be happy to talk to you as well. And what this role is going to do is this is going to be a role that is going to support our existing clients in making sure that not only are they getting implementations, it's typically a couple of days or two meetings, maybe 2 weeks to get everything fully deployed. And that includes jobs, surveys, and existing matches. So there's not a whole lot to do on that side. But what we want to do is, since we had kind of our live chat functions and we've got really, really pride ourselves in being able to respond to people very quickly, So we want to make sure that we are creating and fostering the growth and development of other compensation practitioners through the use of our tool. So a lot of that is going to require a bit of understanding of how that data works, but also how compensation practitioners would want to use our tool to make sure they're improving their program. So this is a role that we have actively open right now, and we would love to talk to other people that may be looking for a change. Now, one of the nice things about working for the company is we're fully remote. I was in Florida last week, Atlanta last week. I'm in Texas today. I'm going to Tucson tomorrow. And then we are going to be, and then I'll be actually in Mexico next week. We've got someone else who's driving across the country right now. We've got someone else that's flying around. So I am a huge advocate and a huge proponent of people experiencing the world. It's honestly, it's one of the reasons why I wanted to start my own company, was because I wanted the flexibility to be able to move around the world, move around the country, and experience everything different. Prior to COVID, or prior to the prevalence of remote work, that wasn't possible. So I think it's great that there is the opportunity for everybody to, except unless you work at Tesla, to be able to work remotely and go see different parts of the world. But that is truly one of the things that we really encourage, is that ability to kind of go travel. We also have untracked PTO, and I know there are some folks that say, it's a scam, that's a scam. Like PTO, you're less likely to use it. I get it. I'm cognizant of that. I see this. I see the things too. And what we want to do is actually, we do encourage people to use it. So we had someone who's driving across country, and we said they were going to be gone this day and this day. And it's like, don't just. I don't expect you to go drive across the country and then come back and work the very next day. Take the next day off too. Make sure you get settled. So we're trying to be supportive and collaborative on both the professional side, but also not the personal side, but within very within boundaries. And I think what we want to do, we don't want to be too pushy. Or there's the whole, you hear companies talking, oh, we're a great family. I have seen a lot of dysfunctional families. We're a high performance team. And with that, we really are pushing and supporting everybody to, support everybody, but also take care of yourselves. That is one of the things that's really important to us. Now, another piece, let me pull up my notes that I was going to talk about. We're a bit unscripted as well, which is kind of fun. So it's a very casual environment. I like to think of ourselves as like the Virgin Airlines of CompTools. So we wear T-shirts, squirrel, and your typical remote tech startup. But the other thing is we have a lot of connection. We do kind of try to maintain a consistent touch with each other on Slack, through other avenues. Whenever we're in the same town as somebody, we like to kind of reach out and take each other out to dinner. So it is very important to us to really kind of build that culture internally. And I think we are pretty effective at doing that through our Slack channels, through meetings when we can. And then we're working on some company events too that will be coming down the road, which is super exciting. And, again, I will say on here, I see some, we're building the plane as we fly it. It's true. But I would say too, the intent for this is to be a reverse interview. So if there are any questions, I would encourage folks to drop those in. Now, I know this is getting recorded. There's some other folks that were going to join today, but we had to reschedule it. So I would also encourage those folks to directly message me with any questions they may have. But let's see, I'm going to wait for a couple seconds, see if there's any questions. I don't see any coming through. But yeah, so I guess some of the other opportunities that we have for folks, because this is, I think, a really important one too, is what are the opportunities that we provide? Given that myself as a compensation person, and given that the roles that we want to hire for have some compensation background, I would really say that the growth opportunities here are to see a very diverse number of kinds of companies and how they provide compensation support to their client or to their internal clients and their stakeholders. It is different than a consulting platform, but it also gives you a lot more variety and a lot of higher level of visibility into what other companies are doing. One of the things that we really like to do too is, as I said, this is, we were hiring for a CompTool coach. One of the things that we like to do with as CompTool coaches is provide guidance, provide help to other companies to say, here's what we've seen work well, here's what we haven't seen work well, and kind of provide that over-the-shoulder consulting. So it's fun because you get to talk shop with folks. That's really important to me, and it has been important to all of us. But you don't have to be as involved with long-term consulting engagements. So great question from Julie. Thank you. So with Squirrel, how's it disrupting things? And I think Squirrel has really been one of the, it's a super fun name, it's Squirrel. And one of the things that we have found it to be doing is changing the way that compensation practitioners look at what it takes to be competitive. And we really, really try to reinforce and emphasize that Squirrel is not a replacement to an existing data source. It's a brand new data source. So we don't want someone to say, oh, now I don't need to purchase this survey, because the surveys are truly very important to have. But what Squirrel does is it's given folks another lens to look at what it takes to be competitive. So one of my biggest things as a compensation practitioner is to say, my job as a comp guy is not to make this company line up to a survey data point. It's to make us competitive. And I think that is pulling up a little bit to make sure that you are supporting the business in the way that is productive and pragmatic. So what Squirrel has done is it's going out and looking at job postings. We're actually now pulling about 30,000 jobs a day to load into Squirrel. And what it's doing is it's pulling this live data in, because there was I have a slide somewhere. And I think what it's done is really changed the way that people think about their market data, because the market data is showing you what everybody is earning. And if you have a comp philosophy that is to pay at the market median, you want to know what everybody is earning. But if you're trying to hire, you might not care about what everybody is making or what everybody's earning. You're going to be specifically focused on what people that are looking for jobs are making, or what other companies are saying they're willing to pay. So what Squirrel has done is it has really kind of taken the pay transparency things and leveraged those. And I know a lot of companies where that is a stress point for a lot of companies. What Squirrel is doing is it is taking that information and putting it in a more consumable, useful format for comp practitioners. And what we're hearing from a lot of folks that are using Squirrel is that it's actually getting a little bit more buy-in, or helping them get more buy-in than your traditional salary survey sources, because unlike a traditional survey, since we are using a range of pay and an intent to pay versus an actual pay range or actual pay amount like a salary point, it allows us to, at least according to our attorney and many other attorneys, it allows us to sidestep the safe harbor and antitrust guidelines. So we can show data that's not anonymous. We can show data that is looking historically. We can show data from yesterday. We loaded 30,000 data points yesterday. So it does a really fantastic job of changing the way people look at data. And in fact, one of the, I won't say who it was, but he used to run one of the biggest survey houses. He's retired now, but he and I had a conversation about it. And he said, what we're doing is truly changing the industry, in an industry that hasn't been kind of disrupted in a really long time. There hasn't been this kind of data available. So for us, that's one of the most exciting things about, and you can probably see that I get a little kind of jazzed up, but this is actually one of the more exciting things to me, is because what we're doing is so different and so unique. And it didn't take a team of 25 developers or 25 product managers. It took a small, scrappy team without funding, without without a marketing budget, to really all of a sudden be supporting some of the biggest companies in the world. So for us, yeah, so yeah, exactly. So looking in Colorado, that's where the idea came from. And so, yeah, favorite part of working here is being able to provide direct feedback to the development. That's a fantastic point. That is the fun part too, is given that we are such a small company, everybody has feedback on everything. And oftentimes we're able to really kind of change the direction of the products that we're developing based on our and feedback from our team. And it's not our team members that we don't have product managers. We have comp people solving comp problems. So we, the guys that are working in sales, they'll look at a product and say, "Hey, that's a cool idea, but did you think about this? Like, these are things that I've heard from folks that I've been talking to." So there truly is the opportunity to build something together. And I think that's one of the really fun things about our culture. So we do ask a lot, but at the same time, I mean, I had to reschedule this meeting today because we had a client meeting that happened at the last minute. So it was supposed to be an hour and a half ago. So there's, there is sometimes some ambiguity, some chaos, but it's really generally, I think, a lot of fun in terms of what we do, because we really do try to balance that with a very high productive, high, what's that word I'm looking for? A very high performance team. And, I'm super happy for everyone that we have brought on. And I'm really looking forward to finding out who we're going to hire next. So we do have several roles open. We're hiring some additional business development roles. We're also hiring, we got our BDR roles that are open, and we also got our CompTool coach, or our customer experience manager, whichever you want to call those. I think CompTool coach is a bit more fun. But if you know someone, or if you yourself are interested, and if you've got some background in compensation, HRIS, let us know. It's not an absolute requirement, especially for the BDRs. We've got one BDR that came from some other sides of the business, not from the comp space. But one of the things we do like to do is, if you do have that comp background, that comp experience, you are pretty much going to be surrounded by other comp pros, and you can help us really change the direction of the industry with the tools that we're building with the small, scrappy team that we are. And so with that, I'm really excited for the folks that are interested in these roles, and I would love to talk to you. And I hope this helped give a better idea of kind of the culture. And if you have any questions, if you weren't able to join, please feel free to shoot a note over, and I will be sure to respond back to you, or someone on our team will. And again, my name is Justin Hampton. I'm the founder of the CompTool, and this has been not a CompTool Tuesday, but a Culture Friday, I guess. Okay. Thanks so much. Have a great week.